I'm here with Liam Mackey from the Irish Examiner. We're having a look at Group 8. First of all, looking back on Ireland's result in Cyprus. Happy with the result but not so happy with the performance, is that fair to say?
I think that sums up pretty much everybody's view, including probably the players and Giovanni Trapattoni, because the first half I think was certainly as poor a performance as Ireland have put in a competitive game, and certainly on the road where they've been quite impressive under Trapattoni. And of course there were echoes and weird kind of flashes of deja vu to trips to Cyprus in the past, where under Brian Kerr Ireland got an early lead, and of course we hardly need any reminding that a year later a certain Stephen Ireland put the visitors in front before the roof suddenly caved in. So the early goal from Kevin Doyle should have settled nerves and should have provided a platform for the team to build on, but quite the opposite. Cyprus might have scored immediately but for a fantastic Shay Given save. And I think it is worth saying how vital Shay Given is to Ireland, because this is a team that never puts other sides to the sword, so there's always a degree of narrowness about leads and about victories and draws, and Given is as vital as a striker in terms of how he changes and shapes games. So that was an important save, but of course they scored on the 30-minute mark, and I really think up to half time Cyprus looked like they could go on and score more, and I think there was an element of panic and indecision in the Irish performance. They did seem to calm down in the second half, and I think maybe one of the more encouraging aspects of the display, apart from the win, which of course was vital and welcome, one of the more encouraging aspects was when they actually got the ball down and passed it and played it with a bit of patience and a bit of composure, rather than simply hitting it long and looking for Kevin Doyle to get a flick on and Robbie maybe to get on the end of something. When they started to knock it about a little bit, I think the Cypriots were starting to tire, because they'd played quite a pressing game, unusually for them in the first half, and then the goal came from maybe Ireland's best move of the match, so that was encouraging. And encouraging too, I guess, in the second half that Shay Given had virtually nothing to do. So in the end, a nervy, below par performance, but a huge result and a huge 3 points.
Do you think it provided any question marks for Trapattoni over the system?
No. It might provide question marks for people who look in from the outside like me, and fans and other journalists and commentators and pundits and other coaches and maybe players, but not for Trapattoni. And I think he's made that clear since. He has a system. It's a question of how that system is implemented, and clearly he'd have worries about that. But the system, I think, will stay. He likes the protective central midfield. He sees the attack as essentially coming from the flanks and the forwards. And I think in a press conference subsequent to the game, he brought up the name Stephen Ireland himself without even being provoked into bringing it up by us, which is the usual way. And he said, I won't change the system. Maybe if Stephen Ireland comes back sometime in the future, I'll change the system. And that's a pretty clear indication. The players fit the system. That's the way he views it. And to that extent, it is a bit like a throwback to the Charlton era, as was some of the football in the first half in Cyprus. But all Trapattoni has to do is point at the table. And he might, and indeed would have had concerns about that performance, and he admitted it as much himself. But you still look at the table, and he's getting this team over the line, and he's getting them the draws and the wins that they need at vital times.
One of the things about Giovanni Trapattoni is he's been bigging up Robbie Keane right from the start and showing how much faith he has in him like that. And he has been rewarded by Robbie Keane as well, hasn't he?
Robbie Keane has been vital to Ireland's progress in this campaign, but I'm not entirely sure he was bigging him up because he thought Robbie Keane had gone off the boil. I think he was bigging him up because he thought Robbie Keane was a great striker. And to be fair to Robbie Keane, there's been criticism of him, and he has gone through periods when the goals haven't flowed for him. But you know, he didn't just get to 40 goals in this campaign. You know what I mean? Yeah. They were always there, and he's always been a big player for Ireland. But certainly his goals have been vital in this. And I think as captain as well, a lot of the players were talking after the game in Nicosia about how important he was to keep the team positive and keep them going. And that was a big game for Robbie too, because a lot of the stuff in the first half, everybody was struggling, and Robbie was struggling as well, and he was trying the flicks. We know what he's like, you know, he's always there, he's always looking for the ball, he always shows for the ball. I have a lot of admiration for him. I think he's a brave kind of player. I think the bravest players are players who, when the ball isn't running for them and things aren't coming off, the bravest ones are the ones who keep showing up and keep looking for it, and he does that. And then he has a great nose for goal, and the cross coming from his old mate Duffer. It was one of those nights in Cyprus when it was the experienced players who pulled Ireland over the line in the end. The guys have been around a while, and Robbie is one of those, and to hit 40 in an Irish shirt is a fantastic achievement.
Thanks very much, Liam. Cheers.